So here's the question. Does anything really matter? And if so, why? And how can you tell what's really important? Let's dive in.
Welcome to the show. Tired of the hype about living the dream? It's time for truth. This is the place for tools, power, and real talk so you can create the life you dream and deserve. Your ultimate life. Subscribe, share, create. You have infinite power.
Welcome to this episode of Your Ultimate Life. There's been some things going on, both that I'm creating and also going on in the world that makes me ask this question. Like, what really matters? Really? Like you and I, we get up every day and we go about our business, and maybe you have a business, maybe you go to work, maybe it's a weekend, maybe you're staying home, or maybe you're just, enjoying life and you're on vacation. And the question I want to ask and talk about today is, what really matters? And that's probably going to be a different answer for everyone, but it all comes from the same place. Love matters. The feeling of being wanted and needed matters. Being accepted, feeling like you matter, like you're valuable, like you're enough. The idea of not good enough, not measuring up, not cutting it. And you watch the news in the United States. Now, Joy and I live in Canada, you know that, but we're both dual national, U.S. and Canadian citizens, and we've been in Canada for the last going on 9 years now, just about 9. We came up here in October of 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we just finished 9 years up here in Canada, but we've been watching things. And in the United States, there is so much anger and frustration and negativity. At least that's what you see on the broadcasts, all the stations, doesn't matter. Everybody's about stirring up anger and pointing at somebody else. And you get the impression that the only thing that matters is hating someone else. The only thing that matters is bashing so-and-so and such for their opinions or their thoughts or whatever. Riots here and National Guard troops there, and it's just this enormous turmoil. And I wonder, I know that the news sensationalizes things because Joy and I go to the U.S. regularly, 3, 4, 5 times a year, maybe 6 every month or two. I'm going down there in December. And by the time you see this, I will have already been, and Joy's going down there next week for a week to go to a conference. And when you actually go, like 99% of the time, you're not experiencing the frantic noise that you see on all the broadcast news and stuff. So it's not really that size, but it still drives me to the question, what matters? Well, I'm going to tell you what I think matters and give you as a possibility. Love matters. It matters more than anything. Developing an ability to love other people, whether you like their opinions or not, whether they agree with you or not, just loving them for who they are. Everybody is going through and has gone through struggles. I was thinking about some people that I know this morning that are dear, that are dear, dear, dear to my heart. Dear to my heart. And I was thinking about what I know about their lives, and what I know is only a fraction of their lives, and probably a small fraction. But it was occurring to me that they had been through abandonment and difficulties, and then another abandonment and more struggles. And my heart just ached, and I wanted to love them. And I thought, the truth is, I have no idea what their feelings are or what they've been through. I see from the outside some circumstances that look like abandonment and struggle and pain and betrayal and all kinds of negative things. And there are some positive things too, but there was this just preponderance of feeling. And I thought, wow, what a difficult thing to go through. And this particular group of people has gone through that. And, I don't really know how it's affected them deeply and how they're feeling. But what I know is I have lots of clients. and I have myself, and I have joy, my wife, my angel who walks on water, that I'm privileged beyond words to be married to. And her mom has lived with us for the last 5 years, and we had a Ukrainian mother and daughter that lived with us for 3.5 years. And about a month ago, they moved into their own place, which was always the goal. And, that's successful. But thinking about what they've gone through, her husband's still back in Ukraine, and they came here 3.5 years ago, got a job, and, staying here. And just the level of pain and struggle that people go through is enormous and unbelievable. I saw a study once that said that at any given time, 50% of people, more than 50%, are going through some massive struggle, difficulty, pain, hardship. So what that brings up in me is this enormous feeling of compassion and love. And it didn't used to, because I used to, for most of my life, up to when I started changing at age 52, which is now 18 years ago, just be concerned about me, what I'm feeling, what I need, what I'm struggling with, me, focused inward. And in the last 18 years, I've developed a completely different way of living. And what it's done is awaken this feeling of love and inclusiveness and kindness and everything else that I'm by no means perfect at, but it's certainly the driving force of my whole existence every day. And as I did my PTAC this morning, or my morning creation process, which includes my PTAC and some sacred literature and prayer and meditation and exercise and all that stuff that I've talked a lot about, it just came to me that I, and maybe by extension, I have no idea what other people are feeling. And that just brings up in me this compassion, a yearning to know, a yearning to help, a yearning to never judge. No one is worthy of my judgment. I have no idea what you are struggling with. And in the last bunch of episodes, we've had coaches now talking about AI and predicting doom for the coaching industry. It's going to be decimated. 95% of coaches won't be able to make a living. And I read and unless they make radical change, unless the industry completely changes, because up to now, it has been a collator and spewer of cool stuff, information, tools, tactics, strategies, that a dozen different methodologies, and probably 100, but I've studied a dozen of them, and that, have used and taught and certified in and everything else. And they're all good, but they don't amount to anything if there is the truth and love of human connection missing. If you want to help others, and most people that I talk to want that. I don't know why, but the people that are in my orbit that I get a chance to talk to and meet and associate with, and guests that I have on podcasts and everything, their main driver is I want to serve. Yeah, everybody wants to make money and, be able to have all the necessities and some luxuries in life. Everybody needs that, at least the minimum amount, to pay, bills and get along. And everybody wants a little extra, sure. And we need and want to make money. It's a recognition of the value that we have, and it's a desire that we have. And we also have a disease in our society about how important it is. Not, but we need some. But the base desire below all that is a yearning to love and serve. So I thought about this episode. I had some episodes with the coaches, and I've had some guests, and then I had 4 episodes that talked about a little bit about what coaching and is and isn't. And I had a couple of episodes about leadership. It's all the same thing. Leadership, coaching, growth, the yearning to serve is all exactly the same thing. We've written different books about leadership and about leadership tactics and styles and processes. And we've written lots of books. I just published a book, Coaching and the Rise of AI, which is the reason I started the Thursday podcast. That's all just happened. But it's all really the same thing, and it's just living, and it's how we choose to live. How we choose to live. So if you happen to have a job where you lead a team of 1 or 10 or 100 or 1,000, how are you showing up for them? That is your leadership. And you go read books and take classes to learn effective ways. You know what the most effective way is? Love, caring. You got to have boundaries. You got to have KPIs. You got to have metrics, right? And different people at different levels in organizations have a different view on all this. But the truth is, we are humans connected together. And one of the reasons I love, and every day that goes by, every week, every month, every year, I love this coaching thing, and I keep calling it coaching, but it really is a choice to be of service. Servant leader. It is a choice to love and serve and lift and bless. It is a choice for me, and an opportunity for me to look every person I meet in the eyes and say, I love you. I love you. I don't know all the things you're going through. I don't know all of the scars and the limps and broken spirits and arms that you've been through. I don't know all those things. But what I do know is I love you. I do know that no matter what has happened, you have the ability today to metabolize, is a favorite word that keeps being thrown around out. But you have the opportunity right this minute to metabolize all of those pains and sorrows and turn them into power. You have the opportunity to take the failures and turn them into interesting data points. You have the opportunity to absorb and love yourself first and others next. One of the phrases in my PTAC is, I am that I drink love from 5 fountains. My Creator, who upholds me and ordains triumph. What in the world does that mean? It means that there's a God and he created, and call it whatever you want, universe, higher self, spirit, whatever. It's there, and you and I both know it. We feel it, and we're intentionally, lovingly created. And an infinite fountain of love is available to that. And I use the words, I drink love for my Creator who upholds me and ordains triumph. By upholds me, I mean the world, the physics and everything else is structured so that we can live. There's been so many books and articles written about the miracle that we even exist. You know, it's 1 to the 10 to the gazillionth power. The way that water works, like the angle between the 2 hydrogen and the oxygen, H2O, is 108 degrees. If it were a tiny more or a tiny less, nothing would exist. Water wouldn't serve the function it does. It would either evaporate at, way lower temperatures, and it wouldn't do what it does. No, it's exactly right. And the exact distance from the sun and the exact composition of the atmosphere and on and on and on. There's 1,000 things that need to be exactly that way. And that's evidence of the design and the love of the Creator, whatever you want to call a Creator. It is evidence of that. So drinking love from that source who upholds me, upholds us, and ordains triumph. I think I used to get frustrated because the ordained triumph to me meant, damn it, how come it isn't happening now? It's not fast enough. Why has it got to be hard and through these struggles? And the answer is, I don't know. But it is, and I have learned to surrender to that truth, not to abdicate or give up, but to surrender to the truth that this is done for my growth and yours, and that together we can do a lot. And you can do a lot by yourself, and together we can do a lot more. There's that example of the big horses that pull loads, right? Clydesdales, I think they're called. One horse could, I think, pull 8,000 pounds, staggering amount, 4 tons. And 2 horses, when they're together with the yoke and that gear and stuff, they can pull 24,000. Way more than double, like double and a half, because of being together. So we're that way too. And that's another reason I love coaching and working with people. Can we work something together? What do you want to create that I can help you do? See, my own journey of the last 18 years has been to create a coaching practice, to learn to love people in a way I never did before, to see and believe in you like no one else ever will, to write a bunch of books about my own journey, to create this podcast and clients all over the world, all kinds of stuff. And that has given me a bunch of experience that I'm just thrilled and excited to offer. because the changes in you and me as we walk that road are what really matters. The money we make is incidental. The lives we bless is super important. And the most important is what you and I become on that road. What we become on the road. So, in the book that I just published, Coaching in the Rise of AI, the change that has to happen in the mentoring and coaching space is we've got to get to the place of love and service. That is essential. It is non-negotiable. And the work to get there is hard, because then that means we have to remember to get ourselves out of the equation, to look at each person through the eyes of the Creator and to see their divine gifts and talents and possibility, to listen and honor them. And so that's the invitation to me and you. Let's honor people. Let's love them. Let's offer to lift and bless. People have said, I think it was Ziegler that was credited with saying, you can have anything you want if you help enough other people get what they want. That is the essence of working together, being together, loving and lifting together. I think it was in Covey's 7 Habits, that talked about interdependence. There's dependence, independence, and then interdependence. And that's the design. What I've learned is that you and I, we're built to love and serve each other, and that's it, period. And the sooner we get to that place and intend and do it without competition, without degrading others, and I don't mean there isn't competition, better products, better services, faster this, faster that. Yes, yes, yes. But love and service and lifting and blessing and making sure we help others that are not yet where we are is just the essential nature of our being. So what I invite you to do is get yourself a map, and I'll tell you what it's a map to. It's a map to your ultimate life. I talked about this a little bit the other day, and I'm going to reiterate. Do you know what you want? Really, can you list it? I can. And I know exactly what my goal is. And sometimes the way I ask people this, and I've said this before, but I'm asking you to think about it. If you think about the highest and best use of your gifts and talents, your knowledge, your skills, your life experience, the highest and best use in serving others, you know that you could help 1, 10, 1,000, 1,000,000 people, 10 million. I don't know, but you know you could. You know it if you sit and be honest. So then the question I ask is, what would the world look like after you fixed it? Fix is a funny word, but after the change that you first become, Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. That's right. That's absolutely right. First. Because one of the big changes that's happening in the leadership and coaching world is that you have to be the change you want to see in the world. You have to be the embodiment. You have to be the living truth of what you teach for leadership or coaching or growth. That's first. You have to be that. Next, and it's a distant second, is the activities and skills. If you're selling products, marketing and message, market, method, match, and all that kind of stuff that Dan Kennedy teaches. All those things are right and true, and they don't amount to anything unless you and I are the embodiment, the change that we want to see in the world. We have to be that first. So we've talked about truth and presence and soul and AI and how it changes. And the AI piece is so interesting because what I'm saying right now is already true. Gandhi said you got to be the change in the world. That was a long time ago. And, Jesus said way before that, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Something like that. Told us to love each other, love our enemies, and lift and bless. And others have said that too, all kinds of people, forever. So that's not news. What's happened is that this technology, this non-intelligent artificial intelligence, but this awesome skill and technology that's now exploding on us since the end of 22, 3, 4, 5 now, going on 3 years, but in the last year especially, boom, what's happening is that's changing the landscape dramatically. All the things we used to busy ourselves doing are going to be gone faster than you or I want to believe. So then the question is, what are we going to do? Well, I'll give you a story. Yesterday, in one of the coaching interviews I did, there was a coach, that one of the two that I was talking to, that had just been speaking to a group of large CEOs and company owners in Australia, which is where he lives. And he's a business coach and he's very successful. And he was telling them that, all of your people, 90% of them are going to be out of work, automated, botted to death. And he saw one of the CEOs in emotional, in tears. And he asked him what was wrong. And he said, but there's 800 people, I guess that was the size of the company, whose families are depending on me. And so my friend that was the interviewee yesterday was thinking about the changes physically, technologically, that were being brought about. And this particular CEO that obviously, probably, I don't know him, had built his company with blood, sweat, and tears and relying on the help and love and service of the people that he'd hired and their families and everything else. He was thinking about it from the human aspect. And my friend who was talking to me said he was just blown away. And all of a sudden it hit him. This is the human side of this. And this is not a sad thing. Okay, this is not a sad thing. 100 years ago, it might have taken us all morning to make a meal. You had to go get wheat, maybe grind it, and go milk the cows and go do some stuff, maybe not all morning, but at least a couple of hours. And now we can do it in 5 minutes. Dump it in a shake, boom, done. Or fry up a couple eggs or stop by a Tim Hortons or a Starbucks or whatever. 5 minutes. And the question that keeps coming up for me is, okay, cool, we can do everything faster and faster and faster. And this new AI is going to just tuple, quadruple, tentuple that thing and put everybody out of the work that they're doing now. And wow, we'll have so much done faster. And my answer is, so what? And I mean that in a really carefully spoken way. So what? Because 1,000 years ago, because people were slower, farming was slower, implements were different, a lot of manual labor, a lot of community work. Were they miserable then because they couldn't do it faster? All of our fasterness, has it done anything? Some people say that when Henry Ford created the assembly line and started paying people higher wages, all of a sudden he created the leisure industry. Because then people had more money faster than they ever have before, and so they could afford to buy the car that they were making on the assembly line. And I don't know if that's exactly true, but that's a story that I've heard. But the idea is we have invented ourselves time, faster, more. The proliferation of television channels. Like there's a channel about everything, right? I've got friends that have started TV networks. That kind of stuff was impossible before. And so my question is, with all that impossibleness now within reach, what are we doing? So back to the question, what does the world look like when you have fixed it? Meaning the thing that you want to serve with has happened. So I'll give you an example. I have a goal of 300 million. That was the goal for last year up to October 14th, which is now a couple of months ago. This year's goal is still 300 million, but it's not to reach them. It is to nurture them in these truths that we're talking about so that we can change what you're doing. And so here's what my world looks like. Right now, when I look at lots of people and have a chance to talk to them and I hear conversations and I go to conferences and everything else, what I hear is I hear a swamp. There's a swamp here. Or quicksand, and people are up to their knees or their waists, and they're reaching for lifelines and trying to get out of this stuckness. And the name of the swamp is learned helplessness, addiction to mediocrity, and victim mindset. Ugh, what a vomit-filled trilogy or trinity that is, right? Learned helplessness, addiction to mediocrity, victim mindset. And so with all of our creations, we have learned to be more helpless. You see that funny thing, people don't know how to change a tire. They don't know how to make bread, and they don't know how to cook food. They don't know how to go to the store and buy it, and it better be this, that, and the other. So and then people learned helplessness. We don't know how to be honest. We don't know how to be vulnerable. We don't know how to create friendships. We don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to love. We're jaded. We're careful. We're, withdrawn, all of that. And that's true. So there we are, learned helplessness, addiction to mediocrity, and victim mindset. Now, I want you to picture someone. Maybe it's you. I don't know. But as a possibility, picture a person that applies to. They're stuck. Learned helplessness, victim mindset, addiction to mediocrity. They're that. Now, I want you to picture another place that's over here. And over here, there is a place that's not a swamp. It's a beautiful meadow. The grass is just got dew on it, and the sky is blue, and it's not really hot, but it's nice. It's a little after the morning, and the chill is just burned off just a little. And everyone's there is excited about life. And they're busy also, but it's with joy and excitement. And the name of that meadow is Fierce Life Ownership, Radical Excellence, and a Passion or a Heart to Serve. Now, I want you to think about a person that that's in this swamp, and maybe a person that that lives their life with radical excellence, fierce life ownership, with a passion to serve. Now, without exception, every person that I know that lives here in this meadow is happy, deliriously happy. They can't wait to get up and meet every day. They have purpose, prosperity, and joy. Okay, so imagine if you could help someone who is in this place, the swamp, learned helplessness, addiction to mediocrity, victim mindset, just kind of walk over a bridge and then live in this meadow. And in the process of helping them walk over the bridge, they changed. There was change in them. They changed themselves because we can't force anybody to change. But through your invitation and instruction and love and encouragement, they changed from this to like fierce life ownership, where they knew they owned their life and could create anything. And they had the radical excellence as their own standard. And they had a passion to serve, because that passion to love and serve arises naturally as we create these other characteristics. So what difference would that make in that person's life? Well, that's a sort of obvious question. They'd be deliriously happy. Every day would be exciting. They'd be living what I call the ultimate life, and they'd be making a difference in the world with everyone around them. Now, these people over here are making a difference too, but it isn't very fun. A lot of sheep mentality, victim mindset, addiction to mediocrity, learned helplessness. So my vision is to nurture 300 million people in making that journey. Now, you know what a difference it would make if there were one. Maybe it's you. Where do you live? Are you in the swamp? Are you somewhere on the bridge, or do you live here? I used to live in the swamp, victim mindset, addiction to mediocrity, and learned helplessness. I now live in the meadow full-time, not accidentally, not once in a while. Every single day, radical excellence, passion for service, and fierce life ownership. So I know what it feels like to make that journey, and it has excited me so much that my mission is to help you, wherever you are on that, to get to this place, to live there permanently, to recognize your divinity, your capability, your possibility. I use the acronym WIPOS, your worth, your identity, WIPOS, possibility, ownership, and sovereignty. Now, I was having a conversation with Chatty. I've had thousands, but at least 1,000 hours of work in there in writing this book in the last 7 months, and lots of other stuff. So I asked, I've explained my goals and all my books are in there and, products, services, and things like that. And I said, so what difference would it make in the world if 300 million people moved from this swamp to this meadow? And it thought for a while, actually quite a while. And then it gave me a very thoughtful and comprehensive answer. It talked about governments and it talked about the economy and it talked about neighborhoods and how people treat each other and everything else. And the analysis was quite good. And the conclusion was it would change the world profoundly and permanently. Okay, that's my goal. So when I look at the world, what is my goal? What is the vision? How would the world look? That's it. It would be that change. So everything I do is about that. What book can I write? What coaching program can I offer? I'm opening a university in January. Your Ultimate Life. It's going to teach the Phoenix, the triple helix method of coaching, which is not vulnerable at all to AI. It capitalizes on the truth of love and service. It capitalizes on the transformation for us to be the change we wish to see in the world. It's not techniques and all the stuff that other coaching models have been built on successfully up to now, because the only thing that matters is who we are. I don't care if you're leading a team of one, if you're only leading yourself, or you're leading a team of 1,000 or anywhere, or thousands, anywhere in between. If you have a community, like the way to lead is with love. The way to make a difference is to be the change, to be the person you talk about. With love, with service, maximizing your skills, gifts, and talents. Like I've got a process where I help people identify that passion. I wish I knew what my purpose was. Let me help you. I can show you. I know how to do that. I've done it for myself and many others. So it's not a mystery, and it's not something you go on a safari to dig up, or to the, place in Machu Picchu, or to the jungle in Peru to have an ayahuasca ceremony. Like, do whatever, but that isn't the way to find your purpose. Your purpose comes from inside, and it comes from everything you know, the gifts you have, and the life experience you have. That's where it comes from. And if you don't know how to weave that together to a passion and a purpose that drives you with joy every day you draw breath, then get a hold of me, because I can show you how to do that. So the question is, with this turmoil in the world right now, especially in the U.S., but in all the world, we've got wars in, Ukraine. We've got a tentative peace now in the Middle East, or at least as of this recording, we do. Maybe by the time you see this, it will be different, but right now we do. So those things are happening, and they're going to continue to happen. And none of that matters to who you choose to be. So the question is, what do you want? I want to be left alone, have a boatload of cash, and have nothing affect me. Dream on. That won't happen. Stuff's going to happen around you. And if you want a boatload of cash, okay, you can have that. You can create a successful business that is valuable to others, and people will pour money on you. The question you have to ask yourself is, what could you be, do, or offer that makes people pour money on you? You're a divine being. You have infinite potential. There's no question about your value or your worth. There's no question about your gifts and talents. None. The only question for me and you is, what the hell are we doing with them? Are we on a path of growth and using them? I'm grateful that the coaching industry has existed up to now, even in its warped form, that is now going to disappear because of AI. Level up is more like it. It's going to level up, not disappear, because I used that industry. I have, for myself, many coaching containers, many coaches, many masterminds, many conditions and situations where I got helped. I did a lot of work on my own. Connection with the divine. You know that I've had a near-death experience, so I've been coached by God, and that continues to happen every day. So I'm grateful for that mentorship and coaching. If you want to make the most out of yourself, I think you need to follow that example. Get a coach. Interview them until you find one that just fits for you and makes you feel like you can do anything, because it's true. And you need someone on your side that will help you with that will encourage you, hold you not accountable only, but will hold you in your highest self. We all came from the same place, and we've all been living way below our potential. You know that, I know that, and we make excuses for it. Learned helplessness, addiction to mediocrity, victim mindset, all the noise around us in the world, all the bitching and finger pointing and blaming. Bullshit. It's time for you and me to own our lives fiercely and furiously and be what we wish to see. Be the product of the principles and truths that we teach all the way, all through. Not, well, I'm trying and I'm making a little progress. That's nonsense. Do you think some Olympic athlete got there? Well, I'm trying, coach. You think some football team got to the place that, well, we're trying, give us a break. Tonight, as I record this, is Game 7 of the World Series, and the Toronto Blue Jays and the Dodgers play. And I don't follow baseball very heavily, but I am now because Toronto's the only team in Canada and Blue Jays, and I'm in Canada right now, and so I'm rooting for them. And besides that, Dodgers won last year, so who cares? But anyway, your opportunity to create yourself and to be powerful is right in your hands. My mission is to help 300 million people walk that road. Maybe you need to write a book about your life story. Maybe you need to just change your leadership style in your company. Maybe you need to change your leadership style in yourself first, because that's the only place to start. People tell me all the time, well, I can help other people, but not myself. You can't love anybody more than you love yourself. You can get mad at me for saying that, but you can't. The place to start is acknowledging your divinity, doing something about it, loving yourself, forgiving yourself, and then getting and staying on the road to growth. We're built to grow. So these are concepts. What I want to ask you now is, what are you going to do with this? So I said all this crap, and you're going, ooh, maybe you might have said, well, he's an idiot. Okay. But you might have said, you know what? That's right, and I need to do it. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do right now, this week? Different. I can help you. If you want to talk to me, KellanFluckigerMedia.com, there's a contact form there. But get the mentorship and coaching you need. But first, set some goals. How do you create yourself every day? Do you have a morning creation process? If you don't, or you do and it sucks, the best one in the universe is in this book, Living with Purpose and Power, developed with 18 years of research and battle testing. I use it every day, and it works mightily and powerfully without fail. You are a divine being. Damn it, do something with it. You have infinite possibilities. So are you going to take it to the grave? Or are you going to create your own vision of the future and then help people get there? That's what we're built to do. So creating your ultimate life is not something that we just sit around and talk about. It's an action. It's a place where we get in the game and stay in the game. I love you. I'm inviting you to live into your greatness. That won't happen unless you pick a path. Make a commitment this week to do extra service every day. On purpose, lift and bless someone. Go start looking for a mentor that will lift and bless your life on purpose. Start thinking about what you really have to offer the world, because it's way more than you think. All of the things that I've said to you today are absolutely true. The question is, what are you going to do? Because growth is the proof. Today, as I record this, it's 1st of November. I've got goals for November 30th. What are your 30-day goals? What's going to be different in your life 30 days from now? What are you going to give yourself for New Year's or for Valentine's Day. You're worth it. You're amazing. Everything about you screams beauty and power. Yet most of us sit and wait or make excuses. That stops today. Grab a hold as the sovereign of your life and move forward to create your ultimate life.
Never hold back and you'll never ask why. Open your heart and this time around.
Right here, right now. Your opportunity for massive growth is right in front of you. Every episode gives you practical tips and practices that will change everything. If you want to know more, go to KellanFluckigerMedia.com. If you want more free tools, go here, YourUltimateLife.ca. Subscribe. Share.
Stand with your heart in the sky and your feet on the ground.